You need to jump on this train before everyone else does. I've got my nose on thousands and thousands of fragrances, so for a fragrance to impress me today it's gonna take a lot. But Born to Stand Out had 4 fragrances that knocked me out of my chair, that made me go and say wow, that made my knees go weak. So I'm telling you now, Born to Stand Out is a fragrance brand that has the potential to be as loved and hyped as fragrance brands like Kilian, like Parfum de Molly, like Initio, like Saffron, like fucking everything. But with a name like Born to Stand Out, a slogan like Who the Fuck Cares, and name of the fragrances like Smoking Gun, Drunk Lovers, Dirty Rainbow, then it could be cringe if they don't deliver. But oh my fucking god, they do deliver, and all the cringe goes away and the brand does make perfectly sense. In less than 1 week I bought 4 fragrances. I bought Smoking Gun, Drunk Maple, Drunk Saffron, and I've ordered Sin and Pleasure, which will arrive to me later this week. So today I'm going to talk to you about the 3 fragrances that I've got from Born to Stand Out in my collection, and I'm going to talk to you a little quick about Sin and Pleasure and why I bought it. Because when I smelled it, it reminded me a bit of Tom Ford's Oud Wood. But Tom Ford Oud Wood goes slutty. I just had to have it. But first we're going to talk about Smoking Gun. Before we start talking about the actual fragrance, I'm gonna walk you through the presentation real quick. We have got a sleeve with some information and the backside as well. And you've got your box which open with a magnetic kind of a way. And there is your bottle. Some people say that the bottles are dull. I think they stand out in the fragrance collection. In my fragrance collection, these bottles really pop out at you. And that is what I think is Born to Stand Out. I do like the feature of a red atomizer with some decent distribution. And another quick fun fact about this brand is if you look right above my finger, you can see the alcohol percentage. That is 66% alcohol. That means that's 34% perfume oil in this bottle. And yet they only write Eau de Parfum on the bottles. Any other brand would have so much oil in the fragrances would brag about that this is a perfume extract. But I guess with a fragrance brand's name Born to Stand Out, with a slogan Who gives a fuck, they don't want to promise too much, so they write Eau de Parfum on the bottles instead. Even though all of them are perfume extracts. But now it's fucking time to get into the fun stuff, the actual fragrances. And Smoking Gun brought tears to my eyes the first time I smelled it, because it reminded me of my granddad. This is for most of all a tobacco fragrance, but when you dive into it, there's a hell of a lot more going on in this fragrance. Because in the top note you have your sweet, fizzy, bitter orange. In the middle you find the smokiness, the sweet, the warm spiciness, and yet another boozy woodiness. And in the dry down you have your tobacco, you have your vanilla, you have your sandalwood. So where comes the name Smoking Gun from then? Well, some people do think that this smells like gunpowder. Some other people do think that it smells like a campfire. For me, it does smell like a pipe tobacco. You know when you have smoked your pipe tobacco and you start to cleanse your pipe? That is the smell I get from Smoking Gun. And that is what reminds me of my late grandfather. Performance on Smoking Gun is really good. I get around 8 to 10 hours on my skin with a pretty big sillage. And does it remind me of any other fragrance out on the market? A little bit. It does remind me a little bit of Aqua Smoke, but it's easier to wear than Aqua Smoke. It's more pleasant. For me, Smoking Gun is a dressed up occasion fragrance, but I do love it that much that I've been wearing it in the high heat this summer and it works just perfectly fine. Next fragrance we're going to talk about is Drunk Saffron. The notes listed in Drunk Saffron is cognac, plum, saffron, leather, coffee, vanilla, musk and patchouli. Straight off from the opening in this fragrance you do get a lot of patchouli, a little bit of a dirty sweet patchouli. Combined with the plum, the fruitiness gives it a boozy touch even with the cognac. And then in the mid you have the coffee note, and that brings a little bit of darkness to it. And the suede leather thing with the saffron going on brings a little bit of masculinity into the fragrance. And then the base you have the vanilla that gives it a little bit of a feminine touch. Drunk Saffron, yes, I do understand the name, but I would have called this fragrance One Night Stand. For me, One Night Stand would be a fucking awesome name that would be spot on for this fragrance called Drunk Saffron. Because you need to imagine this. You are sitting at a bar. You start to enjoy a sweet cognac and right across you there's a beautiful lady and you get eye contact. You smile, she smiles back at you. You invite her over to get to your side of the table and enjoy a drink and she accepts. When she comes over, you get the scent of her. You want to smell her, you want to taste her. You are building up anticipation in your head and finally you got the nerve to ask her to follow up to your room. And I bet you can't even close the door behind you before two warm hot bodies clashes together and your scents start to mix together. Because the plum cognac note in here, vanilla is a little bit feminine. The sweet saffron coffee thing going on is a little bit male for me. So that is two bodies warming, body fluids exchanging, scent profiles exchanging, and out comes Drunk Saffron from Born to Stand Out. The longevity on Drunk Saffron is extremely good. I get around 12 hours of my body, but the sillage is not the biggest. It's very intimate scent. It's perfect for a date night. And last but not least, we have Drunk Maple. And this fragrance is exactly what the name says. It's a boozy maple syrup fragrance. So typically when you have had your one night stand, you go parted ways. But this time you decide to go down together and enjoy the hotel's breakfast. And you get American pancakes with maple syrup. But you still have a little bit of a hangover from yesterday. You still have a breath of a little bit of a boozy vibe. That is Drunk Maple, a stunning fragrance. So when you're sitting there enjoying your American pancakes, you can feel your wood coming forward again. I mean, there's a bunch of sandalwood going in here, but you get the taste. You feel not quite done yet. So you invite her back up to your room and you finish off your one night stand with a one morning stand as well. As you can understand, I think that Drunk Maple is a very sexy fragrance as well. Because you have that booziness, you have the woodiness, you have the sweet vanilla going on, you have some dark roasted coffee, you have your maple syrup in here. Just a stunning fragrance. And this for me is a lazy Sunday morning fragrance. Something like that, just a lazy day, fall day, cozy fall day, chill and Netflix. That kind of a fragrance is Drunk Maple for me. The performance of Drunk Maple is 10 plus hours on my skin with a pretty big sillage. And as you can understand, I do love this brand Born to Stand Out very much because their fragrances are very good quality. They are mixing the old-fashioned way of making fragrances with a new modern way of making fragrances. They are unique, yet there are some that are reminiscent of other fragrances, but man, they do stand out, and I guess that is the meaning with the brand. So for one last time, jump on the fucking hype train right about now before everybody else is gonna do it, because they are gonna make some noise. Born to Stand Out is the future of fragrances.